I know. Listen, I get to come in and out of the cage, and I look exactly how I do when I walk in is when I walk out. No bloody punches to the face, no kicks to the groin. It's a good night. How we feeling? Yeah, all right. Now making his way to the blue corner, John Lord.
All right, so not about this is the second fight in a row where I don't have a lot of information on either fighter.
That makes two of us.
Yeah, it's going to kind of be a coin toss in the air to see this one. So I'm excited to see what these guys bring to the cage.
You know, the fights are always going to be great because Ricky does 90% of the matchmaking on these cards.
Oh yeah, dude. Ricky's a matchmaking guy. I've never. So I you know, obviously they'll send me the lineups for these fights, and of course to do my job I got to do notes and all that stuff. But then I'll just be watching it from a fan's perspective, and it's like, oh my god, these guys know how to matchmake fights.
Oh,
for instance,
absolutely.
one that's coming up that I'm really excited for, not to take anything away from this fight, is Matt Valencia fighting later on. Just fantastic. It's going to be a great night of fights. We have a John Lore, Alate Denard's teammate, over at Coulter. I believe that's the way to pronounce that. It should maybe Culture. I don't know. It's one of those weird, you know, where they take letters out of a word. But I'm just going to call it Culture. That whole gym is very small.
Now making his way to the red corner, Erick Patzán Cax.
All right.
But yeah, that entire gym, man, very supportive of each other. I was watching during weigh-ins. They stick together. They stay together as a unit. They're always taking Instagram photos for each other, hyping each other up, helping each other train. So they're a very close gym. And I think just even though if you look at a guy like Alate Denard, you know, the positivity that he brings, you can't help but feel like that's part of his gym's influence on him.
Absolutely. The gyms really, really do set the tone, especially for these younger fighters. And I think that, you know, with MMA being where it is in the world today and where it's going, it's just really incredible to see these younger fighters have this opportunity to come out here and just train with top-level teams and top-level teammates all across the country. Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, you got Glory, you got, who do you want to go to? You know, Korean Tiger, you got Underdog. I mean, all these, I know there's one guy from American Top Team, Fight Lab in New Jersey. I mean, all of these gyms are just so high level and accredited, and you know, it shows. Like these guys did not come here to mess around. They're not, you know, showing up out of shape. These guys come here to fight, and their teams come with them, and it's a family type environment. That's the biggest thing for me about combat sports, is that yeah, it's an individualistic sport. So when you get in there, you're throwing, you know, it's you and your opponent. You're throwing leather, but it's all about the teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next fight is a kickboxing bout scheduled for three-minute rounds. The referee in charge of the action, Chris Romulo. First, introducing and fighting out of the blue corner, he stands at 5 foot 8 inches tall, weighing in at 136 pounds. Under Culture Flight Club, representing Jersey City, John Lee Lord. And his opponent standing and fighting out of the red corner stands at 5 foot 5 inches tall, weighing in at 135 pounds. Under Senshi Tori MMA, out of North Bergen by way of Guatemala, Erick Patzán Cax.
All righty, second fight of the evening here, and we are ready to go, folks. Very talented Steve Mason in the cage, great at his job.
135 pounds at this matchup.
Yep.
Wasting
nice
no time.
Nice 1-2 by Lore. Okay.
Awesome.
Man. But Patzán Cax is not letting him kind of, I mean, he's doing a great job of mounting his own offense here. Kind of blitzing in, too, using feints and then blitzing in quickly and trying to get out. Lore definitely has, I feel like the heavier hands out of the two of them. But you notice when Patzán Cax fires, it is much more fast than powerful. So really, this could end up being a case of, you know, speed versus power. Also in stature, I mean, Lore is just got the height advantage a little bit there, so you think that you have to use that, and Patzán Cax would have to try to make his way in there using feints, which is exactly what he's doing to his credit. Nice dodge, nice slip.
Yeah, these two are standing in the phone booth and just going at it.
Exactly. I figured that would happen. I figured it would, as much would be the case because right before we got ready to go here, Lore was pumped up, man. He was screaming. Nice leg kick. Yeah, Patzán Cax is definitely relying more. Nice 1-2. Patzán Cax is definitely relying more on his boxing, whereas Lore is just trying to find those power shots. And it is the bane of a shorter fighter's existence in a fight is how to manage that range and get in without getting injured.
Yeah, which makes it so incredible. Like some of the top fighters from the UFC with Henry Cejudo and Alexander Volkanovski, the little guys that are just crushing it.
Yes.
But having to get in and beat that reach advantage.
Right, and then how do you do that, though? You do that with speed, you do that with feints, you do that with technical defense, and we've seen that from Patzán Cax. He's done a fantastic job so far. Another one of those where I don't even know how to score that round.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, you're encouraged to take photographs, take video, all that you want, but please make sure the flashes are off. It's distracting to the fighters. No flashes, please.
Oh!
You just keep serving up heat. I love this, Mickey.
I love it. I tell you, I used to do a lot of DJing, and then I decided that I was only going to DJ in places where I could play the music I wanted to play.
Right,
and
as you're commentating fights as well.
Yeah,
just give yourself more of a challenge.
Yes.
Right.
I used to run the lights too. That was too much.
Oh my God. I have ADD, so my brain would be like fried by the end of the night, man.
I think a lot of red corner fighters got blue lights.
Yeah. Alrighty, beginning of round two. Did you have an idea of who might have took round one, or?
I'm gonna say that our friend Eric might have an edge him out there in round one. He was just so active.
And credit to him, man, doing that against a taller fighter. And you know what? When Lore lands, though, you could see the difference. You know, like you could see when Patzán Cax he lands. It's like, all right, yeah, he'll fire off like a 5-shot combination, and you know it'll send Lore back a little bit, but then Lore will land like a 1-2, and Cax goes flying. You know what I mean? It's right there.
Yeah, look at him though. Lore is definitely the bigger of the two of them.
Right. Which is, you know, it's why it's important that that Patzán Cax uses this feinting kind of boxing style and doesn't allow him to set his tone or set his pace. And
it is Lore that at least this round has been backing him up, putting the pressure on him.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if Lore wants to win this, he just gotta, in my personal opinion, get him up a cage. He could fire off knees, and in my personal opinion, Patzán Cax just got to keep doing what he's doing, man. He's been great at kind of just outworking Lore. I don't know if Lore is looking for the fight-ending shot, but Patzán Cax, he's just been great at finding those small little openings and capitalizing on them.
I think the right side of Lore's ribs starting to show a little bit of redness from those body kicks.
Oh, yeah.
That they're landing.
Oh, he's been finding a home for that. But you know what? Also, Patzán Cax has been kind of he's been wearing the shots in his face too, and he's starting to get slowly more and more backed up. Lore's starting to impose his will more so on Patzán now.
So you will notice that in this fight, the fighters are not wearing headgear. They're still wearing shin pads, but no headgear.
Right, and I talked to Matt Valencia about that the other day, and he said, I think it's after a certain, oh my God! Oh, he's gonna call a standing count. Would they reset? Yeah, it's a standing count, okay. Interesting, yeah, we might see a finish here soon. He's all good, but you're absolutely right. Those, I mean, listen, Khan's been doing a great job with his leg kicks, but what Lore's been doing to the body, the energy that he's been transmitting, and the damage to Patzán Cax's body has been multiplying and multiplying and multiplying over the course of this fight. He's starting to get tired, man. And it's also, when you have the taller guy leaning on top of you and firing on you, and especially, dude, if you're on the back foot the entirety of the fight, that's got to be exhausting.
Yeah. With Patzán having, being the shorter fighter, having the shorter reach, every time he came in, granted he was coming in with multi-punch combinations, but he would just get rocked.
Yes. But you know what? In between rounds, this might be a good chance to kind of, let's hit the reset button, right? You've made it to the end of the round. Let's come out solid in the third, and let's not let this guy impose his will like he's been doing. Because, I mean, I got it 1-1 right now, personally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 1-1 works.
So very contingent on this third round here. And you know what? Listen, for as much as we're saying about Cox, but Laura's been, you can see him, he's breathing heavy. So I think this is going to come down to who wants it more.
Laura's he's had this intense stare in his eyes all night. He's just like locked in on his target.
Very intense, yes. But you know what? A very nice guy.
I believe it.
Of course, when he's not in the cage. Wouldn't want to see him in a cage. Wouldn't want to see any of these guys in a cage. Alrighty, third and final round here. Who is going to take it? I wish we had what the UFC has with Twitter, where we could see what people are tweeting about the fight. We could get an unofficial scorecard.
You know what's really cool about the UFC is they're partnering with the Meta, and they're going to offer a 180-degree virtual reality experience. So I feel like it's going to be like you're sitting cage side.
So I could see Usman knockout Covington the first time in complete 180. Nice.
Or see Usman get knocked out by Leonard.
Oh my God, man, that was quite the knockout. And I got to listen, Cox came out and he said, I'm ready to go. He's been a much more active fighter, and I mean, I know we're only a short time into the third round. We don't have a round counter here, but I'm giving this one early to Patzán Cax.
Yeah, I would say so. He's landed probably about 20 or 30 punches and kicks so far. We're only about 45 seconds into the round.
He's also just got to be a little bit careful for that right there.
Yep.
He'll fall into shots, so you'll see he'll fire off a 1-2, and Laura's just waiting to capitalize on that. He kind of leaves his head open, and he'll fall into things. So you just got to be careful of that.
Oh, that was strong.
If I didn't say so, if I didn't know much better, I think Laura just got a little bit rocked. Got a little bit stunned, a little bit dazed. Oh, the fatigue definitely playing a factor in this fight.
Absolutely.
Most certainly. And Laura's smart to do that, man. If you're the bigger guy, just listen. You know, I know it's kickboxing, but the little time you get like that, where you can make the guy wear your weight, I think that'll pay dividends.
So in this kickboxing match, we haven't seen trips. Are we not going to see trips? Is that outside of the rule set?
Yeah, so I don't think we have, obviously outside of MMA, I don't think we have any. Look, Matt Valencia is the only Muay Thai bout tonight, I believe, and that's no elbows. So we might see trips then and in the MMA, but for these Dutch kickboxing rules, it's all up top.
Oh.
And that's a back and forth brawl. I mean, 2 fights tonight, man, have just been absolute bangers. I like this. We get the fighters coming around to us, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a little wink and a little nod.
These really are the best seats in the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I tell you, I've had the opportunity to go to like a couple of the big UFC events, and just being at a small regional event where you're right there, so close to the action, it's such a different energy.
Oh no, absolutely. And even in the Newburgh Armory, I mean, this place is fantastic. It's almost like it's suited for small amateur fights.
Yeah, what's interesting that for this event, the past 2 events we've done here, we're only a quarter of the room. And now here we are in the center, making the event even bigger.
Alrighty, let's throw it over to Steve Mason in the cage.
Fighters, please come to the center of the cage. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for your winner, fighting out of the blue corner, John Lee Lore.
All right.
Interesting decision. What do you think about that? I mean, we could be unbiased, right? Or we could be biased, excuse me.
So Lore took that decision?
Lore took that decision.
You know, I would say that, you know, I like it. I saw the other day on a UFC fight that it wasn't just the hits they were landing or the strikes, but there was also a count for significant strikes. And actually, it was the Sugar Sean fight against Peter Yan.
Yep. That's what a lot of people believe won on that fight. And if you look at it that way, yeah, sure. Lore was snapping the head back of Patzán Cax. Like, there's no doubt about it. He was landing the heavier shots. But, you know, if you want to look at it through busyness, you could easily give that to Patzán Cax as well.
I tell you what, out of all the different things I do with music, shows, DJing, it is these fights that have the absolutely most eclectic music.
What's the craziest walkout music someone's ever asked you to